CHS The Show. I'm your host, Andrew Laura. This week I'm joined by world-renowned history and psychology teacher, Mr. Tinkham. Mr. Tinkham, I want to get straight into your career as a psychology teacher. Tell me more about it, how you got into it. Tell me how the year is going and what you teach.
Well, I wanted to be a teacher for a long time. I applied for an opening here. Pat Calais used to be the psychology teacher here. And when they interviewed me, they told me I had to do a lesson in psychology. I didn't believe in psychology. I made fun of psychology. But my wife happened to work at the Institute of Living and Hospital in Hartford, a psych hospital. And she made up the whole lesson for me on dissociative identity disorder, people with multiple personalities. And I did the lesson and I got hired as a result of it.
How has your view on psychology changed now that you've been teaching it for a while?
Oh, it's changed a lot because I see the value it has. A lot of people need psychology in their lives. And I do a research paper every year and people write about their personal journeys and struggles with addictions and other things. And there's a lot of supports they have in this school and the private sector that have done wonders for their lives.
How long have you been here at Carmel High School?
I think I came here in 2008, in January.
2008.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And how's the year? I mean, I know you teach AP psychology. I took that class last year. So
right.
How's it going this year with your new students?
Oh, it's always fun. Students are always different. And they all bring their own unique personalities and their unique struggles with them and their stories. So I love coming to work every morning. I love the teachers that teach with me in my area, that part of the building and the rest of the building. Administration is great to work with, and the kids are great. Learn a lot from them.
What's your style with teaching? I mean, what's your approach to that to get the best way for your students to learn?
I think you have to let the students talk. You have to make fun of them at times to make them laugh. And you also have to challenge them and try to embarrass them at times. And I think when you do that, then they get more relaxed with you and they're more open to open up things.
How do you take, complex problems or terms when it comes to psychology? I know at least when I was taking the class last year, sometimes it was challenging. How do you take those terms and different sort of systems and make it learnable?
Well, you have to use case studies of actual people that it's happened to. And once you break it down into small segments, people can relate to it somehow. Like I do a unit on eating disorders, which is people who don't have it or have never been associated with it. They think it's kind of a joke because people won't eat. And once you tell them it really doesn't have to do with eating, it's all about gaining control. And then other people start talking about their journeys. It opens up to them, you know what, this is a serious topic that we should take seriously. And I think that kind of translates into the student body.
What's been your favorite part about teaching, just in general?
Oh, 100% the kids. Joking back and forth in the hallway. If you're in the hallway, 800, Mr. Anderson and myself, we make fun of the kids every day. They make fun of us back. It's a good rapport back and forth. And throw the ruler on a little bit and talk some smack. And talk back again. That makes it fun being at work.
How is your class in psychology? How is that valuable to any student, just in general, psychology?
Because it makes you not only understand yourself and what may be lacking in your own life, it makes you more empathetic and compassionate to other people that may be suffering from a disorder. And once they find out they're not the only ones, everybody has disorders. If you can get them medication or something to help them, it makes their life a lot better.
Do you think, and I've always thought about this too, do you think it's possible for somebody to be perfect when it comes to, I guess, mentally, right? Because if we're talking about psychology, right, there's always something that's off.
If you can tell me anybody in life would never have to deal with a tragic death of a loved one, unexpected, a breakup, losing their job, having a child get arrested and have problems, this and that, if you can show me that person, I'll tell you there's a perfect person.
So basically, I mean, taking psychology, you can learn something about yourself, you can learn something about other people.
Yourself, other people, entire cultures. And you have to debate, should, Congress and the president right now, should they put more money into mental health? Because it seems everybody is always taking it away. Maybe we need more money to go into mental health to help people.
Tell me more off of psychology. I know I took civics with you too, my sophomore year. So tell me about that class.
Well, civics is fantastic in the fact that it turns with the government. In this past year, we had the election, because President Trump won. And in the last few years, there's so much you can talk about the government and what's happening in the government today. What can the president can do with these executive orders? How much power does Congress have? And we always try to get kids to answer the question, who controls your life more? The mayor of Cromwell, the governor of Connecticut, or the president of the United States? What do you think?
That's a tough one. I guess it would be the mayor, I would assume. but I couldn't really tell you because it's something to think about.
Congress can make you go to war.
It's true. Talking about that class, why is it important to learn about civics?
Well, the first thing I want everybody to get out of my civics class is stress the importance of voting. There's a group of people in the country that complain about everything, but they never vote. And if you see the percent of people that don't vote, that are eligible to vote, if they all got together, they would rule the country. So first thing you have to get to vote, have to understand the issues. And no matter where you live in life, you should be involved in community service and you're helping your society and community out. Be a coach, work, the PTA, whatever it is, help out in town.
So what does a student get out of civics, and what are you teaching that can benefit them? Are they more likely to vote after taking your class?
Hopefully they're more likely to vote, they're more likely to get involved, and hopefully they understand they do have a voice and say what happens in the government. If you were either like a pro-Trump MAG person, or if you're anti-Trump, I want you to understand that you just can't say yes or no sitting in Cromwell. You can get out and you can vote and you can raise issues up and you can lead causes. Any great cause starts in the grassroots in the local community.
What have you learned with your teaching career as a teacher? I mean, now that you're a teacher, I'm assuming you weren't one before.
No.
So how does that change you?
It was really big difference between working in the private sector. I used to run a window factory. I was in charge of manufacturing for years, making windows. And now that I have students, I think I can make a better difference in their lives, not by making them do something, but by just getting them to expose them to what's out there in the real world. Somebody who's been in education their whole life can't share the same stories or experiences as I had in the private sector of what's out there. And it makes people think, oh, is that how it works some places? Yeah. And I think I open a lot of eyes and things like that. So I think it's very fulfilling being a teacher. The only thing I regret, all these people go, and you're close to them, they graduate, you don't hear from very many of them after they leave here. You always wonder how they're doing.
How likely is it for you to connect with somebody you've taught in years from now, after they graduate?
Years from now? There's 3 or 4 people that graduated, at least 10 years ago that I'm still in touch with. But I don't see many of them around. I'm not, as you know, I don't do social media or any of that stuff, so I never see anybody's Instagrams or Facebooks or whatever they're called. So hopefully I just run into them somewhere.
But why do you think that is? I mean, you think people graduate, do you think they're just all set with high school and never want to see them again?
Well, you'll know too in a few years. When you're in high school, you're senior high school graduating, nothing bigger in the world than high school and your senior year of high school. And then freshman year of college, maybe the first semester you think about high school. But after that, high school is pretty much in the rearview mirror. You're into college, you're into the military, you're into working, you're into building your career somewhere else. And, and that's the way it should be, always going forward.
As a teacher, would you want the opposite to happen? And would you want to make a big enough impact so a student would want to come back to you after that?
Oh, yeah, I definitely want students to reach out, and some do, but not a lot do. It's almost like you wish that every year they'd have to, by law, have to send, this is what I'm doing, where I'm living, what I'm doing.
All right, Mr.
See if you can help them anyway.
We've run out of time.
Okay.
We're going to take a commercial break. We'll
Great.
be right back.
Fun.
We'll be right back after these messages.
What college will you be attending next year, and what major will you be doing?
I'm going to Middlesex Community College, and I'm studying radiology.
What are your plans for next year?
I'm going to go back to Germany, and then I'm going to go to business school to go into marketing.
What are your plans for next year, and what major will you be doing?
Next year, I'm attending Quinnipiac in the fall, and I'm going to school for business.
What college will you be attending next year, and what major will you be doing?
I'm attending East Carolina University for business management.
What college will you be attending next year, and what major will you be doing?
Norwich University, I'll be majoring in cybersecurity.
What college will you be attending next year, and what major will you be doing?
The University of Rhode Island in physical education.
What college will you be attending next year, and what major will you be doing?
I'm attending Hofstra University and I'm majoring in music performance.
What college will you be attending next year, and what major will you be doing?
I'm attending UConn and I'm majoring in elementary education.
What college will you be attending next year, and what major will you be doing?
I'm attending the University of Hartford and I'm majoring in civil engineering.
What college will you be attending next year, and what major will you be doing?
Middlesex Community College. I haven't decided my major, but probably something within like personal fitness, like personal trainer.
Where are you going to college, and what are you majoring in next year?
CCSU Project Management.
What are your plans for next year?
I'm going into the trades, electrician, IBEW.
What college are you going to next year, and what are you majoring in?
I'm going to BYU Idaho and I'm majoring in psychology.
What college will you be going to next year, and what are you majoring in?
I'm going to BYU Idaho and I'm majoring in construction management.
What school will you be going to next year, and what are you majoring in?
I'm going to the University of Maryland and I'm majoring in criminal psych.
Welcome back to the show. We are with Mr. Tinkham finding out more about his teaching background. So I know before you were a teacher, you were in the window business. So
Correct.
Tell me all about that, how you got started in there, what made you leave, become a teacher.
Sure. It was my summer job when I was in college. I made windows from start to finish. When I got out of college, I started being in charge of the inventory. It was about $3 million worth of inventory. I was in charge of procuring it, doing prices and things like that. I wanted to work in a historical society. I went across the country a couple of times trying to find a job. I didn't get one. So I just stayed with with my window business, and eventually I went up and up the ladder. And within 6-7 years, I was vice president of manufacturing, making up the windows.
Wow.
Kind of fun.
So where was the company? I mean,
It was in Newington, 240 Payne Road.
and what was the company?
It was called D&K, Homecraft, Insel Sash, and when I left there, it was called Schuco.
I remember Schuco, but I remember some of the stories that you used to tell us in class. So tell me some of those stories. I mean, what were the wildest stories that you have to tell?
Well, some of the stories that surprised people were when the salespeople used to look in November to see some older gentleman that had died. Then they'd go to the house around Christmas, a few weeks before Christmas, and ask to talk to him, even though they know he was deceased. His wife would be all broken up and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, he passed away." And the salesperson would say, "Oh, we won't make you pay for these. We won't do them anymore. We'll cancel the order. But he ordered windows for your house for you for Christmas. He wanted you to be cold, nice and cozy this winter." And so then what's the lady going to do? My husband did that for me. I'll buy the windows. Kind of shady. I was not in on that. I just made windows. I didn't sell them.
So tell me some more of those selling tactics that people would use to sell windows.
You take a dollar bill out of your wallet and you put it through the window in the framing of the existing house. While I'm talking to you, my service person's got a putty knife. He's making a little opening there so the dollar bill slips through very easily. And they just say, "That's all the money you're wasting every day by not having our windows in your home."
Tell me some more. I want to learn. If I'm a person, I want to learn about windows, right?
Sure.
What's the science behind windows? Why are they so important? I mean, from what you learned, I'm just curious.
They're real important because there's all types of windows out there. I happen to make the window that was the highest priced window in America. It also had the most bells and whistles. It was triple pane, had 2 pieces of low E glass. It had krypton gas and argon gas in between the panes. Because if you have a high insulated window, everybody thinks about the north and keeping the heat in. Well, there are even more savings in the south by keeping the air conditioning in. And so you saw a lot more in the south actually than you do in the north. The windows can save you a lot of money.
What's inside a window? If I see like 2 panes,
Yeah, inside is a piece of glass. There's a spacer in between the glass. And again, our windows had argon and krypton gas between them. Again, just acting as insulators.
So it keeps it warm?
Yeah. If you go to room 716, my room, there's a window with a broken seal. I've been after Mr. Kuckle to change forever. He never changed it. But my quality control, I would have fired that person who did that window because there's a big condensation mark in there. Maybe you can talk to him and get it. Maybe the show will get him to change it.
Yeah, we'll see the show. We'll get him to change it. So what got you out of the window business? How long were you in the window business?
I was in the window business for about 28, 29 years.
Oh, wow.
What got me out of it? We were bought by a company, Schuco, and the first thing they did in their first month is they got rid of every manager but me. And they couldn't get rid of me because I'm the one who hired everybody in the factory and set the whole factory up. So it took them a while. And they tried really hard to get rid of me for 6, 7, 8 years. So I knew my time was coming, and I always wanted to be a teacher.
So you just thought,
So
new chapter?
we had a mutual agreement that they ended up having to pay for my education one night and leaving, and here I am.
It's an interesting story.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of, yeah.
So,
Long story.
what was your position again right before you left?
I was vice president of manufacturing.
So you had a leadership position.
Oh, yeah, I had 200 employees under me.
So what's that like to be, somewhere higher up?
Well, you have to be a master motivator because all your employees, most of them are minimum wage. Hardly any of them speak any English at all, and they're doing a very boring job. And I only get paid, and the company's only successful if they make windows, good quality windows. So you have to motivate them every day in different ways to make them want to be there.
How would you do it?
Well, you do it by, first of all, please and thank yous. They're very simple things. When you tell somebody you don't give them money, 19 days is how long it takes if you get a raise. You're happy for 19 days on average. So you say, please and thank you. If you can make them help you do something, like if I had a problem with my car, I'd have them help me fix my car for me. Because they helped me come to my house some Saturday and put something up for me in my house. Because they're working for me. You have like these weenie roasts for them, where the managers go make them hot dogs. And my favorite was what they loved the most. And Fridays, every Friday, I would have every employee, after they got paid, give me $1. I'd put it in this big box. Then the shift ended at 3 years, I'd pull a name out of the time cards. Whoever's name I picked won the $200 for the day. Didn't cost me a cent, and that was the most happiest thing in the world. They loved doing that.
Oh, it seemed like you knew what you were doing.
Well, you got to think of different ways. People love like employee of the year, that stuff. Mugs, people love these mugs with their names on it. T-shirts.
Do you think you've learned more about that now after you become a psychology teacher?
I think I understand it a little bit more, but you had to be good at it then to make people work for you.
Do you think, or this could be a fact, when you become a manager anywhere, any leadership role, are you given some information on how to, make your employees happy and get them to keep coming to work?
I don't think you can be given information because I think you have to tailor it under your own personality. I'm not a quote-unquote tough guy. You know some teachers in the school that could rule by fear all the time? Yeah. And that's good because that's their personality and that works for them. Fear only works for me if I'm fearful maybe 4 or 5 times a year. I would take windows and I would smash them and throw a hammer through a window and get really mad at everybody. But that was like 4 or 5 times a year. You can't do that every day because they get on to you. But I know that I was really good at collecting money for people that wouldn't pay their bills because they didn't like the windows out in the field. And I got a really good knack and success record of talking to them and giving me the money when I go visit them. So that was a good thing.
So I'm thinking now, like, for the students who are watching the show, right?
Sure.
And who maybe have a job now, and obviously you know about being a manager or being the vice president. So what's the best way to, if you're working hard, what's the best way to get a raise or to sort of move up and show your employer that you're working hard and to build a reputation?
The best way to get a raise if you're working for me is, one, be at work on time. People that are tardy and people that are absent a lot, I didn't have a lot of love for. Because I was giving honest wage to them, honest effort to them, and I want them to give the same back to me. Plus, I want them to put in an honest day's work. If you do a good job, I'm going to get money off of that too. And I'm going to reward you because I want to do it. I worked at a union shop though, so if I had like 10 workers I thought were fantastic and wanted to give money to, I wasn't allowed to. Because the union says, we're all one. So that's what I don't like about unions per se.
So get to work on time.
Yeah, get to work on time is a good thing. And prove to be a good worker.
And work hard.
Yeah.
All right, so right before we end this and go back to a break with more messages,
sure.
Tell us one more story from your window business.
Okay, so I went to a house once to collect some money that they owed me. And Schuko was a German company. And so this man said he was German, knew all about Schuko in Germany. He said he could shoot the head of a nickel at 1,000 yards with his rifle. And he said if I ever came onto his property again of the company, he would shoot me with his rifle. But I could tell he was like just bluffing, talking. So I started asking him about knickknacks he had in his house there, pictures of the grandkids, this place, talk about a little geography, things I saw when I went to Germany, this or that. Sat down, he actually then gave me lunch, he gave me the check, and I went on my way. And it just showed me that when you're at somebody's house, to calm them down and get money from them, talk about the grandkids first, their pictures, and everyone wants to talk about grandkids. Then any hobbies you could think of, and then you ask them for help. If the lady's in the kitchen, I'm being sexist now, in the kitchen making food, you ask, I haven't had that since I was a kid. How do you make that? You ask how you make it and things like that. Ask if you can have a taste, and then of course love it when you taste it. For the guy, you ask him about something, how to fix something, how to get somewhere, and by again them helping you, that gets you in with them. It's the best advice I can give anybody.
You make it personal.
You make it personal, and you make them helping you.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Name That Psychology Term again.
All right, look forward to that.
It's time for Name That Psychology Term. Obviously, Mr. Tinkham is a psychology teacher, so the term should be quite easy. I took one of his classes last year, so I should be good competition. Here are the rules. There are 16 terms, all related to psychology, and their definitions will be put on the TVs here in the studio. The name of the terms will not be given, and it's our job to name the terms. Our producer will randomize the definition. Mr. Tinkham, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'll let you go first. You're going to have 10 seconds to read the definitions and shout out the missing term.
Okay.
So you're going to look at the TVs and read the term.
Eisenpavlov. No Pavlov? Yeah.
You got it right?
I like the bell.
I'm going to go with cones.
Schizophrenia. Yeah, I like that buzzer.
Learned helplessness.
That's good, the student beating the teacher. I like it. That would be Maslow's pyramid. Abraham Maslow.
Operant conditioning, I think.
Oh, yeah. Good student.
I'm trying to remember. Oh.
It's like cognitive behavior therapy. That's the same as modification.
Is that schizophrenia? Nope.
Did. I like that buzz. I need that for my classroom. Basically psychology right there.
I don't know. Do you know the answer to that one?
Can't read it from here. Let's see. Groupthink.
Oh, okay.
That would have been toughy.
That's tough.
That's not good. Like the frontal lobe has to do with speech. Yeah, broke us. That's part of the frontal lobe. I'll take the buzzer. I like that noise.
Oh, I know this one. It starts with an A, but I can't remember the rest of it. It's like I don't know the rest of it. It's a weird word.
UPR.
Altruism.
Yeah. Everyone should have that in their community. Social loafing.
That sounds right.
I love that. Group work. That's all about group work right there.
That must be schizophrenia. That's a long definition.
That's a long definition.
That must be schizophrenia.
Yeah. It's called the bystander effect. Glad you got that one.
I don't know. Implicit thinking. I don't know the answer to this one.
That's a toughie.
That's it. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time for today's show. I think it was a tie, Mr. Tinkham. But thank you for joining us. Thanks to Bryant for his Man on the Street segment. We'll see you next time where Michaela will host Mr. Tomasino. Until next time, CHS.